guys, my name is Abigail Casper and I'm a junior at Perry High School, and I really like music and to watch Disney movies. So today we're going to be reading The Lorax by Dr. Seuss. It's one of my favorite books. I've actually seen the movie, and it's a pop-up book, so let's get right into it, shall we? At the far end of town where the grickle grass grows, and the wind smells slow and the sour when it blows, and no birds ever sing excepting old crows, is the street of the lifted Lorax. Have you guys seen the movie or even read this book before? I highly suggest reading it again, maybe. To maybe if you have siblings or just in general, it's really fun to read. And deep in the grickle grass, some people say, if you look deep enough, you can still see today where the Lorax once stood, just as long as it could before somebody lifted the Lorax away. What was the Lorax, and why was it there? And why was it lifted and taken somewhere? From the far end of town where the grickle grass grows. The old Onceler still lives there. Ask him, he knows. You won't see the Onceler. Don't knock at his door. He stays in his liquor-room, on top of his store. He lurks in his liquor-room, cold under the roof, where he makes his own clothes out of muffered moof. And on special dank midnights in August, he peeks out of the shutters, and sometimes he speaks and tells how the Lorax was lifted away. He'll tell you, perhaps, if you're willing to pay. On the end of a rope, he lets down a tin pail, so like a bucket. He lifts down like a bucket, and you have to toss in 15 cents. So how do you equal 15 cents? Let's start. You can take a dime, and then a nickel, or you can take 15 pennies. You can take 2 nickels and another nickel, so 3 nickels actually. And yeah, if you want to do that, you can. And a nail like what you take to hammer something into the wall, or just to put in anything to screw in something to keep it together. And the shell of a great grandfather snail, so an old snail. Then he pulls up the pail, makes a most careful count to see if you've paid him the proper amount. Then he hides what you paid him away in his snub, his secret strange hole in his gruberous glove. Then he grunts, I will call you by whisper my phone, for the secrets I tell are for your ears only. Down sleeps the whisper my phone to your ear, and the old Onceler's whispers are not very clear, since they have to come down through a snarly hose, and he sounds as if he had smallish bees up his nose. Now I'll tell you, he says with his teeth sounding gray, how the Lorax got lifted and taken away. It all started way back, such a long time back. Way back in the days when the grass was still green, and the pond was still wet, and the clouds were still clean, and the song of the smomy swans rang out in space, one morning I came to his glorious place. And first saw the trees, the truffula trees, the bright-colored tufts of the truffula trees, mile after mile in the fresh morning breeze. And look, the fish even move. And under the trees I saw brown barbaloots, frisking about in their barbaloot suits, as they played in the shade and our truffula fruits. From the rippleless pond came the comfortable sound of the humming fish humming while splashing around. But those truffula trees, all my life I'd been searching for trees such as these. The touch of their tufts was much softer than silk, and they had the sweet smell of fresh butterfly milk. I felt a great leaping of joy in my heart. I knew just what I'd do. I unloaded my cart. In no time at all, I had built a small shop. Then I chopped down a truffula tree with one chop. And with great skillful skill, and with great speedy speed, I took the soft tuft and I knitted a thneed. The instant I'd finished, I heard a gazump. I looked. I saw something pop out of the stump of the tree I'd chopped down. It was sort of a man. Describe him, that's hard. I don't know if I can. He was shortish and oldish and brownish and mossy, and he spoke with a voice that was sharpish and bossy. Who do we think this is? Mister, he said with a sawdusty sneeze, I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. I speak for the trees have no tongues. And I'm asking you, sir, at the top of my lungs. He was very upset as he shouted and puffed, what's that thing you've made out of my truffula tuft? So now we're going to all use our imagination and say this is the Lorax, because we're going to use him as the Lorax. Look, Lorax, I said, there's no cause for alarm. I chopped just one tree. I'm doing no harm. I'm being quite useful. This thing is a thneed. A thneed's a fine something that all people need. It's a shirt, it's a sock, it's a glove, it's a hat, but it has other uses, yes, far beyond that. You can use it for carpets, for pillows, for sheets, or curtains or covers for bicycle seats. The Lorax said, sir, you are crazy with greed. There is no one on earth who would buy that full thneed. But the very next minute, I proved he was wrong. For just at that minute, Cap came along, and he thought that the thneed I had knitted was great. He happily bought it for $3.98. I laughed at the Lorax. You poor stupid guy. You never can tell what some people will buy. I repeat, cried the Lorax, I speak for the trees. I'm busy, I told him. Stop it, if you please. I rushed across the room, and in no time at all, built a radio phone. I put in a quick call. I called my brothers and uncles and aunts, and I said, listen here. Here's a wonderful chance for the whole Onceler family to get mighty rich. Get over here fast. Take the road to North Nitch. Turn left at Weehawken Sharp, right at South Stitch. And in no time at all, in the factory I built, the whole Onceler family was working full tilt. We were all knitting thneeds, just as busy as bees, to the sound of the chopping of truffula trees. Then, oh baby, oh, how many business did grow. Now chopping one tree at a time was too slow. So I quickly invented my super axe hacker, which whacked off 4 truffula trees. Let's count 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 truffula trees at one smacker. We were making thneeds 4 times as fast as before, and that Lorax, he didn't show up anymore. But the next week, he knocked on my new office door. He snapped, I'm the Lorax who speaks for the trees. Which you seem to be chopping as fast as you please, but I'm also in charge of the brown barbaloots, who played in the shade in their barbaloot suits, and happily lived eating truffula fruits. Now, thanks to your hacking my trees to the ground, there's not enough truffula fruit to go around. And my poor barbaloots are all getting the crummies because they have gas and no food in their tummies. They loved living here, but I can't let them stay. They'll have to find food, and I hope that they may. Good luck, boys, he cried, and he sent them away. The Onceler felt sad as I watched them all go. But business is business, and business must grow, regardless of crummies and tummies, you know. I meant no harm, I most truly did not, but I had to grow bigger, so bigger I got. I biggered my factory, I biggered my roads. I biggered my wagons, I biggered the loads. Of the thneeds I shipped out, I was shipping them forth to the south, to the east, to the west, to the north. I went right on biggering, selling more thneeds, and I biggered my money, which everyone needs. Then again he came back. I was fixing some pipes, when that old nuisance Lorax came back with more gripes. I am the Lorax. I speak for the trees. He coughed and whiffled. He sneezed and he snuffed. He snargled. He sniffed. Onceler, he cried with a crowfish croak. Onceler, you're making such snugglous smoke. My poor smowy swans. Why, they can't sing a note. No one can sing who has smog in his throat. And so, said the Lorax, please pardon my cough. They cannot live here. So I'm sending them off. Where will they go? I don't hopefully know. They may have to fly for a month or a year to escape from the smog you smogged up around here. What's more, snapped the Lorax, his dander was up. Let me say a few words about gruppling grupp. Your machinery chugs on, and day-night without stop, making gruppity glup, also sluppity slup. And what do you do with this leftover goo? I'll show you, you dirty old Onceler man, you. And then I got mad. I got terribly mad. I yelled at the Lorax. Now listen here, Dad. All you do is yap yap and say bad, 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 bad. Well, I have my rights, sir, and I'm telling you I intend to go on doing just what I do. And for your information, you Lorax, I'm figuring on biggering. And biggering and biggering and biggering. Turning more truffula trees into thneeds, which everyone needs. No more trees, no more thneeds, no more work to be done, so in no time my uncles and aunts, everyone, all waved me goodbye. They jumped into my cars and drove away under the smoke-smug stars. Now all that was left 'neath the bad-smelling sky was my big empty factory, the Lorax and I. The Lorax said nothing, just gave me a glance, just gave me a very sad, sad backward glance, as he lifted himself by the seat of his pants. And I'll never forget the grin look on his face, and when he hesitated himself and took leave of this place, through a hole in the smog without leaving a trace. And all that the Lorax left here in this mess was a small pile of rocks with the one word, unless. Whatever that meant, well, I just couldn't guess. That was long, long ago, but each day since that day, I've sat here and worried away. Through the years, while my buildings have fallen apart, I've worried about it with all of my heart. But now, says the Onceler, now that you're here, the word of the Lorax seems perfectly clear. Unless someone like you cares a whole awful lot, nothing is going to get better. It's not. So, catch, calls the Onceler. He let something fall. It's a truffle seed. It's the last one of all. You're in charge of it, the last truffle seeds. And the truffle seeds are what everyone needs. Plant a new one, truffula. Plant a new truffula. Treat it with care. Give it clean water and feed it fresh air. Grow a forest. Protect it from axes that hack. Then the Lorax and all of his friends may come back. And that's the end of the story. So, I have some activities for you guys. We have a few coloring sheets of the Lorax and the truffle trees. And we also have a game that we can play. And we can also make our own puppet if we have enough time with a paper bag. How did you like the story? And did you understand like the characters? Like, who was the Onceler? So the Onceler was the guy that was chopping down all the needs that he made, and well, all the truffle trees to make the needs. And the Lorax was the speaker of the trees, who was like the voice for the trees. He didn't want the trees taken down. They were meant to stay for the barred tough flutes, and he wanted them to stay for the animals that were living there. So I hope you guys really enjoyed this book, and sorry if my English is a little weird, but have a nice day, and thank you for joining my reading journey.